afternoon to St. Marie and Algoma. Thank you for joining Special Report Afternoon Edition. I'm joined today by Alex Parr, who will be my guest host until Colette Linden returns. So, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. I see we both put on another layer.
I know, it's a little chilly in here.
Yeah.
I put on a jacket, I'm like,
In here it's chilly.
Yes, not outside.
But in Dan's absence, I'm pulling double duty here.
Yep.
So we're actually going to take a look at your weather as we speak of it. And I mean, whew, if you stepped outside today, you know how hot it is. 27
You won't
degrees.
need a jacket or a sweater.
No, you definitely do not. Unless, yeah, we take a look outside now. You can just tell by looking at that. It's a beautiful day. If you get the chance to go outside, make sure to capitalize. We're looking at a current temperature of 27 degrees with the daily high of 30, the daily low of 17. Winds chilling low, 10 kilometers an hour. So if you're going sailboating, maybe not the day, but definitely a good day to hit the water.
Yeah, actually my girlfriend is at the beach right now.
Oh,
Yes.
lucky. I bet she's rubbing that in, eh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she went with one of her friends from Brazil actually. So
Wow,
yeah,
no way.
the beaches here are a little different than Brazil.
I can only
Yeah,
imagine.
just a smidge.
Only imagine. Yeah, the water's probably a little colder too.
Yeah, the water's not as warm here. You know, so, but yeah, so we have some at least some warm temps coming over the next few days. 30, 31. It's looking nice.
See, that gets to the weather where it's a little too hot for me. Like if you hit 30 degrees and you get that humidity on top, I am an ice cream cone outside and I am melted. No thanks for me. That's a little too hot.
Yeah, that's actually where Colette and I like the heat to start at,
To start?
Yeah, to
Okay, so
start.
what's ideal?
like 35.
Plus humidity or
Yeah,
35?
you can have a little humidity in there. Yeah.
A little bit of Miami runs
Yeah.
through his blood, eh? I know,
Yeah,
thank you.
I prefer the heat to the cold any day.
No, because
So.
with cold, you can put more layers on. You can keep warming yourself up. I can't go run around naked if I'm too hot down a public beach.
Well, not without getting arrested. You would make the Crime Stoppers crime of the day probably.
I got my Nike runners on. I think I
Yeah,
might be able
so-
to run them.
And we're waiting for Doug Ford, by the way. He's supposed to be coming up for his announcement today. He's joined by Christine Elliott, as he normally is. You can see the split screen on there. Who's the Deputy Premier, she's also the Minister of Health. But Carolyn Mulrooney, who is Brian Mulrooney's daughter, the Minister of Transportation, she's going to be there today, along with Sylvia Jones, who's the Solicitor General. And they're going to be making an announcement shortly. So we will let you know when Doug Ford comes out, as we normally do. Let's look at Ontario numbers, because
Let's do it.
things today, that if I tell you the number, it sounds bad, but when you break it down, it's actually quite good.
Okay, you're going to bring us some good news. I like that.
Yes, it's because there's two areas of the province, just two towns actually, that have not opened up yet.
Okay.
Near Windsor, Essex. They've allowed Windsor, Essex, most of it to move to stage 2 now.
Okay.
So that was the last public health unit that was allowed to move to stage 2. However, we had 257 new cases of COVID-19. However, 177 of those new infections came from migrant workers, because they're going on to each farm and testing all the workers.
Yes, I did. I think it was a little
Yes.
bit further down south that they had 90 cases on one farm. I can't quite
Yes,
remember.
there's a couple farms where there is quite a few cases.
Yeah, now it's sparking the debate
Yeah.
on maybe migrant workers, maybe having different legislation, different rules for how they're going to be about, just to protect
Yeah.
them and make sure they're doing it safely.
Yes, the concern there with them though is they were required to do the 14-day quarantine.
Oh.
So this is community transmission. And they shop in the two towns that are there. They're Kingsville and Leamington. if you know
Leamington,
Somerton.
that's
Yeah.
the one, yeah.
Yeah, Leamington's the bigger city of the two. And they go to those two towns to do their shopping, which is why that area is still closed down, because there's a lot of community transmission going on, because they would have caught it from someone else in the community and brought it onto the farm. So
Yikes.
they are now, obviously, anyone who's, like, they're doing all the contact tracing that they normally do.
I'm sure if anybody watching the show has went out to a restaurant, maybe per se, you
Yep.
know the drill, your name, your phone number, that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like Doug Ford's coming up. Yeah, there is Doug Ford. We'll be right back after him with more.
Well, good afternoon. I've been deeply concerned by the reports of corruption and criminal activity impacting our tow truck industry. And I know that vast majority of our tow truck drivers, they're hardworking people. They put in 12-hour days, night shifts, and weekends. And I absolutely love these guys and gals. They're good people who work their backs off to put food on the table for their families. But there's a small group of bad apples out there causing trouble, lighting trucks on fire, smashing windows, and getting mixed up in organized crime. That ends now. I've been hearing it from our mayors, industry leaders, the police chiefs, and OPP. I know they're doing everything they can to bring the criminals to justice and keep our roads safe. I especially want to thank Chief Saunders and his team at Toronto Police Services for the recent crackdown and arrest of 11 of these bad guys. I also want to thank York Regional Police for their successful bust in May called Project Platinum, which seized 11 tow trucks and took over 40 illegal firearms and drugs off our streets. It's a good start, and we need to keep going. These turf wars are totally unacceptable. There's no place for that kind of activity in our cities, in our province, and along our highways. To all the bad actors out there, my message is very clear. The party's over. We're coming for you, and we'll catch you, and we will lock you up. And our government is going to do everything in our power to support our law enforcement heroes in bringing these criminals to justice. So today, I'm here to announce the creation of a new task force to strengthen provincial oversight of the towing industry. This provincial task force will work with our police, industry, and municipal partners. We will hold them accountable, we will increase enforcement, strengthen consumer protections, and improve industry standards. I'll turn it over to Minister Mulroney in a moment to provide more details, but I just want to say, this is about sticking up for all the law-abiding people who work in our tow truck industry. And it's about sticking up for everyone on our roads. We know the system is in need of reform, and we want to work together to find solutions. We're laying the groundwork now for building a better, stronger industry that puts customers first, provides quality service, and continues to keep our roads and highways safe. As we reopen the province, we need everyone to be playing on Team Ontario to ensure a strong recovery. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Mulroney.
Thank you, Premier. Good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi à tous. I want to begin today by acknowledging the responsible tow truck operators in Ontario, who play a critical role in keeping our roads and our highways safe each and every day. Anyone who has ever had their vehicle break down on the side of a busy road knows how stressful it can be. You're placed in a very vulnerable situation, and you need a tow immediately. And like everyone who uses our roads and our highways, our government is deeply concerned with the continued incidents of violence and criminal activity in the towing industry. These incidents are completely unacceptable and pose a threat to the safety of operators and everyone who uses our highways. Enough is enough. The current model is inconsistent from one municipality to the next, and it's not working. And that's why, under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government is stepping in to improve provincial oversight and to shut down criminal activity in the towing industry. We have formed a task force that will develop a provincial oversight model that strengthens safety, protects consumers, and improves towing industry standards. This task force, which has already met twice, is led by the Ministries of Transportation and the Solicitor General, and it includes representatives from 4 other ministries and the Ontario Provincial Police. Nous avons formé une équipe de travail qui élaborera un modèle qui renforcera la sécurité, protégera les consommateurs et améliorera les normes de l'industrie du remorquage. Ce groupe de travail, qui s'est déjà réuni 2 fois, est dirigé par les ministères du Transport et du Solliciteur général. Il comprend aussi des représentants de 4 autres ministères et de la police provinciale de l'Ontario. Once the task force has developed proposals for discussion and comment, it will be consulting with industry, municipalities, and public safety experts. Safety is always our government's top priority. And the interests of drivers are another priority. And that's why the task force is also considering ways of cracking down on insurance fraud, ending the first on the scene policy, exploring opportunities for insurance savings, as well as clearing our highways faster, to prevent hours-long lane reductions in traffic for minor crashes. However, the immediate focus of the task force will be making sure that the tow truck system is clear of criminality. And right now, with the incidents that we are seeing month after month, it's clear that we have work to do. As soon as we receive the task force recommendations, we will be moving forward quickly to act on solutions and make sure our roads and our highways are safe for drivers and for responsible, law-abiding tow truck operators. En ce moment, avec les incidents que nous voyons mois après mois, il est clair que nous avons du travail à faire. Dès que nous aurons reçu les recommandations du groupe de travail, nous nous empresserons de trouver des solutions et de veiller à ce que nos routes et nos autoroutes soient sécuritaires pour les conducteurs et pour les remorqueurs qui respectent la loi. And with that, I'll turn it over to Solicitor General Jones. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Mulroney. Good afternoon, everyone. Tow truck drivers are a vital part of keeping Ontario moving. The towing industry clears our highways after an accident, supports enforcement of parking laws along our crowded city streets, and responds when Ontarians call for help. But they are operating in an industry that lacks oversight, structure, and where too many criminals are making their own rules. A spike in violence within the industry, including instances of corruption, torching of tow trucks, and the firebombing of officers, is a threat to Ontarians and public safety, and it must end. This is a dangerous turf war, and it is being waged in many communities across Ontario. I would like to thank police services for working together to respond to this growing threat. They have been instrumental in bringing this issue to the government's attention. When Ontarians are stranded on the side of the road, they need to know their calls will be answered by tow truck operators who act safely, ethically, and within the law. Working with the Ontario Provincial Police, the task force will help us determine tougher standards for the industry and shut down criminal activity that puts Ontarians in danger on our roadsides. We are standing up for Ontarians, responsible tow truck owners and operators. You work hard to provide an important public service, and we will not let you be intimidated by criminals. Tow trucks are an essential piece of a moving economy, of our economy here in Ontario. This task force will ensure that the industry has stronger oversight so that crime does not pay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the phone line for questions. First question.
First question comes from Sean Jeffords from the Canadian Press.
Hi, Sean.
Good afternoon, Premier. A question for you today about COVID-19 cases in Windsor-Essex and the spike in numbers we've seen today and yesterday when it comes to the agri-food sector. The case counts now in Windsor-Essex are at their highest since the start of the pandemic, and I wonder if now that the increased testing is going on in farms, if this shows that the extent of the problem is actually much larger than the province really knew about, and what it's going to do about it now that we're seeing all of these increased tests.
Well, I'll tell you, I first want to congratulate our testing team. I want to thank the farmers. I want to thank the workers in OMAFRA as well. We've all come together. I had a great conversation with both mayors of Kingsville and Leamington over the weekend. They're doing a great job, want to work hand in hand with us. So I just want to give the shout out to the two mayors there. And we were on the health table today, and he put this into perspective. Out of the, I believe it's 265 cases, 175 of them tested positive. We went on one farm with 450 workers, and again, 175 tested positive. We're working the Niagara region. Next, they're up to bat, and then we're going to finish off Leamington and Essex area as well. We have a great team out there. They're working. Everyone's working together, and we're going to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to resolve these cases as quickly as possible.
And Premier, by way of follow-up, the medical officer of health has also mentioned that there's a practice amongst a number of farms in the region where recruiters will bring workers from farm to farm, and that this could also be potentially spreading the virus across different farms. This same practice was going on in long-term care, where workers were working in multiple homes. Why did the province not learn from that problem in long-term care and ban this practice at local farms?
Well, first of all, we're reaching out to all the farmers. We're giving a list of these recruitment agencies. Some are, we found out, some are fly-by-nighters and just trying to make a quick buck, so we're going to put an end to that. And we have, I believe there's been 70 orders given to some of the farms. We've done, I think, 250 inspections there and abouts. And they know all the eyes are on them right now. But again, I want to thank the farmers. They're cooperating. Everyone's cooperating. In their best interest, it is to resolve these cases and support them. I got to give a shout out to the federal government as well, stepping up, jumping in there for their federal inspectors that can inspect the bunkhouses, but they're also paying for the hotels and motels that we're putting these folks up in. So everyone's working on all three levels, and we'll tackle this like we've tackled everything else. With the cooperation of the people of Ontario, we're going to tackle this as well.
Next question.
Next question comes from Lucas Meyer from News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Lucas.
Good afternoon, Premier. First question is actually about the tow truck legislation. I'm just wondering if you can expand a little bit on the timeline and how this is going to develop. Do you have any benchmarks, dates for when exactly you'd like, these recommendations, these new policies, licensing, etc. What's the timeline to roll all of this out?
Yeah, I'll pass this to either the Minister of Transportation or Solicitor General. I'm not too sure. Whichever one.
Thank you, Lucas. Well, the task force, as I indicated, has been struck and has already met 2 times. So they're going to continue to work and meet over the next few weeks with a view to provide recommendations to myself and to the Solicitor General towards the end of July. We want to take those recommendations and then conduct stakeholder consultations. So with industry, with municipalities, with law enforcement. So we're going to do that over the month of August, and then look at those recommendations following that process. And we hope to be able to bring in legislation or regulatory amendments if required this fall.
Follow up.
Thank you. And Premier, for you, and this is a economy-related question. Lots of businesses, obviously, in Peel Region, Toronto, that have only been able to open up for a little bit after going into stage 2. It could take a while for them to get back to some sense of normalcy. I know you've halted or reversed evictions on the commercial side from May to August, but I just saw a note from a Waterloo-based business which has various franchises, and they just heard another 2 of their locations are going to be closing up. So I'm curious if the government is working on any other financial supports for small businesses that currently can't open and are at risk of going bankrupt before stage 3, whenever it arrives, or have you basically, in your mind, done everything that you can and it's just, hang in there until stage 3?
No, I don't like the last approach. They can't just hang in there. I talk to small businesses, large businesses on a daily basis, numerous businesses across the province. I heard the Prime Minister wants to extend the rent program for another 30 days. I'm in favor of that. So far, we've had almost 10,000 people take us up and the federal government up on that offer. I'd like to see more people take us up on that offer. But on a daily basis, it's very fluid. It changes, and where we see people need help, we're going to continue to help them on all aspects. Our main goal is number 1, health and of the people of Ontario. Right, very close to that is the economy. We have to get the economy going. We have to cut the red tape and all the regs that go along with, for instance, no matter if we're building infrastructure, which we have to start moving forward on infrastructure. We're working well with the federal government for their infrastructure funds, but we can't take 4 to 6 years to build a building. No matter if it's a long-term care building or if it's a company that wants to employ 1,000 people, because if it's a company that wants to employ 1,000 people, they're going down south of the border. Down in Ohio, you can get a building permit in 6 months. That's what we're up against. So the old way of doing business on getting approvals, and I don't mean by any means do we skip approvals, but there's more efficient ways of doing approvals and to protect the certain areas.
And welcome back. That was the Premier's press conference today. He was joined by Christine Elliott, as he is most days, who's the Deputy Premier and Minister of Health. But today it was Carolyn Mulroney, the Minister of Transportation, as well as Sylvia Jones, who's the Solicitor General, talking about problems we've seen in the tow truck industry. There was a bunch of charges laid recently. And there's been people dying over this. Like literally, there's been like a mob war in Toronto over the trucking industry. Most trucking companies are honest and above the board, but there's a few bad apples, and they're looking at what they can do to clean that up. So,
and I know a lot of people have been saying that, oh, I'm done listening about COVID-19 things. We thought it was going to be about COVID, but no, this is a forefront issue for especially down south, but Ontario for sure.
Yeah, like just reading the press release here, there's 1,600 different tow truck companies registered with the Ministry of Transportation in Ontario.
I like how they use the word registered.
Registered, yes, that's an important word.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also, the Consumer Protection Act already has parts of it with regards to how tow truck companies can operate.
Okay.
However, if you would like, you can actually go to the government's website, ontario.ca. There's a survey there, and you can talk about your experience with a tow truck company. If you felt you didn't have a good experience or you were pressured in, because they're also looking at the first on the scene, removing that as well, because right now, particularly in Toronto, the first tow truck that gets there is the one that you have to take regardless of price.
Wow.
Which is why they can charge you $800 to tow you like 2 kilometers. So
yeah, I expect a big reform for that system to be coming in the quite near future.
And I'm sure the insurance companies will like that as well, because they're the ones that usually end up footing the tow truck bill as well. So,
very, very true.
But anyways, we were looking at cases in Ontario. We were talking about Leamington and Kingsville here in Ontario. Trudeau got up today for his press conference, and it was mainly on COVID-19. And he was talking about the numbers are all trending in the right directions. It's just we've got some hot spots.
Right.
We talked about the one in south, down by Windsor, Essex, with Leamington and Kingsville. But the Kingston also has an outbreak as well, and it's all connected to a nail salon.
Right.
So apparently one employee in that nail salon had COVID-19, passed it on to 25 customers that they know of that have tested positive for COVID-19. So now they're doing this massive contact tracing in Kingston to try and contain this, because think about it, you go to get your nails, and then
gotta get some groceries, you gotta
then go
flash
grocery
off the
shopping,
nails.
And just think about how many people in a day go to a nail salon, get their nails done, and then, because it's not just the one person who was positive in the nail salon.
Right.
You just had to be within 6 feet of that person, or even 16 feet, depending on the type of mucus that's flying around. Wonderful topic. We'll move past the mucus flying through the air topic.
Yeah. Hope you're enjoying your lunch today,
enjoy your lunch,
folks.
folks. But we got to go to a commercial in just a sec, but hopefully they're able to contain that, because that could be a massive outbreak.
Yeah. Stay safe, wear your masks, and make sure you're doing your best to protect yourself, to protect everybody else.
Yes. So we'll be right back after the break. We'll do some Facebook shout-outs, a Call It Linden update as well, and also we got some sports stuff. See you in a sec.
Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
And welcome back to Special Report Afternoon Edition. I'd like to thank KC Securities for sponsoring Special Report. We got some Facebook shout-outs. I'd like to say hi to Erica, Iniki, and Tammy Lynn. Thank you for posting in our comments on Facebook. If you have a birthday wish, anniversary, or anything you'd like us to talk about on air, you can post it in Facebook Live as we are live on the air. That's the only chat we actually see. The other stuff we don't see till after the show's over, so you can interact with us live here on the air. I've talked about this on Friday, and I mentioned this morning, we're raising money for Colette Linden, my co-host, who was she was badly burned on Friday night. Not this past Friday, the Friday before. She's in the hospital right now. We've been raising money for her, and I'd like to thank the following people for donating since this morning, which was St. Catharines Celtic Club, Bob, Mick, and Nenny, John Burke, John Meehan, Irene Mayer, Anton Bouchier, and John O'Donoghue. And also, I'd like to thank all of the anonymous donors as well, because there's been a bunch of people who have donated anonymously. Thank you very much to all of you for helping out. We greatly appreciate it. And we are now over $6,000 that we've raised for Colette.
How much is the difference now between our first show this morning and now? You said it was another $900?
About another $900, yes.
Sault Ste. Marie, you're killing it, guys. You are rocking it.
I mean, we came on the air this morning basically about just under $5,300. And right now, someone else just donated, John O'Donoghue, and that took it up to $6,220 now that we've raised, because John just popped in another
donated
$50 there. Now. And yeah, we went from $960 when we went on the air Friday morning.
$960 Friday to over $5,000 this morning.
Yeah, just under $5,300 this morning, and now it's just over $6,200 between this morning and now. So thank you very much. I'll pop the link also into the Facebook Live broadcast right now, as well as at the top of our Facebook page. If you go there, there's a link that clicks through to the GoFundMe. And thank you very much to everyone who has donated. We greatly appreciate it. Colette reached out to me this morning to say thank you very much for us talking about it on the air, and she's very thankful to everyone who has helped out. So thank you very much to Ste. Marie and surrounding communities who have helped out. Thank you.
Yeah, her attitude's been great towards it. But we got one that tiny, well, not too tiny. This is something that, especially in today's age, you got to talk about. The Edmonton Eskimos, a team in the CFL, they had a wide receiver just released, Christian Jones. He sent out a homophobic tweet, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. He tried to defend himself for quite a few hours after, but the team said there's no place for that in our roster, and they released him right after the tweet went out, and you can't blame them. But the point that I want to bring up is, with a name like Edmonton Eskimos,
well, Eskimo pies are disappearing.
Eskimo pies are disappearing,
yes,
right?
They're going to be renamed as well.
Yes. So at least Edmonton knows when something's wrong, but I feel like maybe this team's going to rebrand not too far away in the future. And for the rest of today, we got some beautiful weather, so let's make sure we get outside and enjoy it. But don't enjoy it for too long, because at 5 o'clock you gotta come back on.
See Alex on the news.
You gotta check out the news. I'm there. I mean, come on. Yeah, I got a beautiful face you want to check
Yeah,
out.
plus he just finished plastic surgery on his chin.
Oh, I hope it's not too obvious. I hope it's not.
You grew a beard over it. So.
Yeah, and then you see Real Beauty 2 hours after that with the Christopher Old Corn Show to wrap up tonight's programming. I want to thank you so much on behalf of myself and Chris. And once again, check out that Colette Linden GoFundMe. Have a good afternoon, everyone.